And that's it. Okay. If this is the credits, this is where we do our review. I'll go ahead and run through that real quick. At the beginning of the, we'll start. Do it my normal order. First of all, I'll start with graphics. This game is probably the best looking game I have ever seen. I know this is an HD remake of. For some reason, it just seemed a little loud. I know this is an HD remake of a PlayStation 2 game, so I can't imagine how good it must look on the PS2. I mean, I understand I'm two generations up, and it's an HD remake, so they made it look. They took time to be meticulous and made every little detail look as good as possible. But I can't imagine how it looked on the PS2. I mean. It looked really good here, and on the PS2, I guess it still had to be somewhat good. I mean, because I really can't say, so it's hard to say that. But on the PlayStation 4, this is probably, if not the best, one of the best looking games that I've ever played. And that's saying a lot because there's a lot of games that I really like as far as graphics wise. Story, most of this story is kind of. Make it up as you go along, as far as what you're supposed to do. I got the gist of it here at the end here. Obviously, the old man there, I think his name was Eamon, had banned the boy from taking the girl to this place, even though he wanted to resurrect her. The boy wanted to resurrect the girl, resurrect her, wake her. I don't know if she was dead or just in a coma or something. So that's again one of the points I'm trying to talk about here. Is you got to kind of guess at what the story is saying here. But he took the girl to bring her back, whatever it is, life, coma, whatever. And in the process, the boy was manipulated by Dorman to destroy the 16 Colossus, the Colossi, which those 16 Colossi were apparently dormant in one form, split into 16 different forms by this guy, I guess. And by defeating these Colossi, it reawakened Dorman, which somehow took over the boy. That's what I'm not sure about. And no man shall ever trespass upon this place again. Unless they invent a parachute and just jump down. Should you be alive, if it's even possible to continue to exist in these sealed lands, one day perhaps you will make atonement for what you've done. Obviously they're talking to the boy here. He's talking to the hero, I guess. Alright, we're going to watch the girl and the poor horse limp a little more. Story, you kind of, like I said, you have to make up some parts of it on your, or not really make up, but draw your own conclusions, as I was trying to say. Now getting to the more technical side of it, the controls were okay. I had issue with the camera, mostly. I didn't like the fact that the camera was tied into the whatever direction that the horse was moving. Even though you could actually drive the horse with the... Is that the boy? The hero boy? He's got the horns like he did when he was all whited out and stuff. See, again, you got to kind of make that assumption. I mean, the boy did fall into this little fountain thing here. Is he going to try to climb all the way up there on 3 legs? That is one really durable horse. Damn, that's going to be really stubborn. Again, you got to draw your own conclusion. We know that the boy fell into the pit because we were trying to keep him from doing that, even though it was impossible. There was no way to stop it. So you can assume that's who that is. The controls were fine for the most part. I had a little issue sometimes with the combination of buttons when trying to jump from facing one way and trying to jump to a platform that's behind you or jump to a wall that's behind you. Especially in the 16th Colossus fight, where you had to go from his back to his hand, and then when you stab him in the hand or stab him in the arm, his other hand comes over. You got to jump from the forearm or the upper arm to his hand. That was I had trouble with that. The camera was big, like I was saying. The camera was my biggest concern, because even though I could actually drive aggro left and right with left stick, if I turned with the right stick to the camera, let's say I wanted to look over to the right, see what was over there, it actually started turning aggro as well. That was irritating. One stick needed to be used to drive the horse. The other stick needed to be used to look around. Just like when you're on foot, you're walking with the left stick, you look around with the right stick. Don't make two sticks drive at the same time. It doesn't work. It was really bad when I was trying to turn the camera to look behind me, and while I was trying to keep my horse turned the other direction, it would just completely screw up the way I was going. Oh, there's another animal we didn't see. There's a little deer there. Outside of the Colossus, there's another animal we never saw, or another animal, I should say. I want to go back to the graphics for just a second. The only minus thing that I want to say, and it only happened in certain areas, was it was a very drab, gray type of atmosphere. However, I can look past that, knowing that there's a little squirrel there too. I can look past that, considering the nature of the story of the game. It's supposed to be a sad story about a boy who was trying to bring his girl back, again, whether by coma or by death, one or the other, or from coma or from death, one or the other. So it's that kind of sad story would lead to a more drab atmosphere, and I kind of get that, so I'm willing to overlook it, but it still is a drawback to me. I didn't really like the drab appearance of some areas. Even though most of the time, even though there were a few times when you did this colorful atmosphere that you've got here, there were still a lot of moments of that gray drab, which was kind of distracting to me. The gameplay itself was really good for at least probably the first 3/4 of the game, specifically 3/4 of the Colossi. When I got to I understand that each Colossus had a different strategy for approaching it. I get that. That was really cool. It kept you from having to deal with duplication or boredom from like, okay, I gotta just do A, B, C, D, and then go do the same thing again. Now, while they all had a similar feature, you always had to stab their weak points. That was what you were going for. It was still a different way to have to do it each time. For the first one, you had to stab him in the calf, make him kneel down, and then climb up and stab him in the head. Got that. But some of the more ones later on, the first one that I had trouble with, as you know, was I can't remember the Colossus, I can't remember which number of Colossus it was, but it was a really, really big one in the water, where we had to go past that waterfall, swim up to him, and he was just a really huge motherfucker with the horns out in front that fired the lightning bolts. The reason I had trouble with that one is, like I said while I was playing, I didn't know that I could be able to climb up on his back. And there we go. Bearer of the Curse. Okay. Press X. Let me do that real quick, see what happens. To enter time attack mode, press R2 in front of a Colossus statue in the shrine. No, thank you. New Game Plus and Mirror World modes are now available with Mirrored World. Huh. Okay. I guess I'm back to the beginning of the game. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and skip through this and go to the options screen here and finish off what I'm saying. Alright. Go to settings. That way we don't have to worry about any background things happening. As far as that when Colossus was concerned, I didn't know I had to get up on his back. And I figure eventually I might have figured that one out, because I'm looking around, I went all over that arena. I went toward the waterfall. I went toward the back of the arena, back of the watery area. I couldn't find anything that looked like it led me to a higher ground, which is what the clue kept saying. And I'll get to the clue part of it in just a minute. The clue kept saying go to higher ground. Well, I kept looking for like really high ground. Maybe it was like, okay, I had to get really, really high and jump on its back from really up high. Okay, well, I couldn't find anything that led up high. So eventually I probably would have figured out, okay, let me try looking around the Colossus one more time, and maybe I can find some way to get on him. And I probably would have gone around to the back and saw that I could have climbed up that way. Now, I might have had trouble figuring out what to do with those blue and white rocks on his head. The only reason I knew to hit those was because I read the walkthrough. That's how you moved him around. You literally used those to drive him toward one of the platforms, and then you jump off his head onto the platform, and then he'll stand up on his forelegs, and you can hit his stomach with the sword. I don't know that I would have figured that out. I probably been wondering, okay, what do I need to do? Where's his weak point? What am I supposed to hit? What am I supposed to do? I might not have figured that one out, because it was a mechanic that I didn't foresee and didn't experience before. There was none of the other Colossi that had that type of thing where I could control him for one reason or another. But later on, when I came across I think it was the next to last one, number 15, the really big guy with a really small sword. The reason that one bothered me so much was because if you fell off of the Colossus, there wasn't a quick way to get back on. You had to spin. If it took you, first of all, let me back up a little bit further. I was having trouble figuring out how to get to higher ground again. I want to go back a little bit farther on a few back steps here. Again, I know I keep kind of jumping around here. I get irritated when the game gives me clues, but they're vague. I hate riddles. Riddles are my biggest adversary in games. If you watch my Final Fantasy 15 Assassin's Creed DLC videos, you'll see what I mean by how bad I am at riddles. I can't decipher riddles very well. And while some of the clues that Dorman gave during the battles against the Colossi were almost like riddles. When I was fighting that, when I call the second dog, or second puppy, I guess you can say, what I'm talking about is the one of the little Colossi. When I say little, he was little compared to the rest of them. But it was the one where I had to jump across all those platforms and then stand on one of the platforms, the towers, wait for the Colossi to knock the tower down, and then move on to the next platform, and so on and so forth. And I had to do that all the way back around to the beginning of the area. When I got to the next to the last part, the doorman had said, when you get to the tower, he can't reach you, or leave you alone, or whatever, however he put it. Could proceed forward. Okay, that confused me. That was not a helpful hint. I would rather that hint had not been there, because it didn't help me at all. Because when maybe I got to the top of that one tower that he couldn't knock down, I thought maybe I had to find my way inside, or find a way on top of it, or something. That's why I was trying to spend so much time on the tower, trying to climb up to the top of that tower, even though it was impossible. I thought maybe I needed to do something there, stand up there, maybe I press a button, or flip a switch, or something that would help me out. But I couldn't get to the top of the tower, and that was what was frustrating me, because the clue said that he couldn't reach me at the top of the tower, which I took it as to mean that's safe zone. That's what you need. That was your goal. That was your objective, was to reach that tower. I didn't know that I actually had to jump to that smaller tower next to it, have it get knocked down, end up back there where the platforms were, jump up on the platforms. They can't make the Colossi run into the platform braces some more, and have the platform fall on the Colossus, breaking his armor. I couldn't figure that out because of that clue that it gave me at that big tower. So, vague clue stopped me from proceeding further. And saying proceed forward didn't help me because technically I was backtracking. I was going back to the beginning. When I got on that tower and fell over the wall, I was back at the beginning where I went to the arena where I was going to fight the boss. That's not proceeding forward. That's backtracking. That's the opposite of forward. And then I went on to and added the reference to the clue thing, going back to the battle with the Colossus, the lightning Colossus in the water, in the big lake by the waterfall. It kept saying, "Go to cross to reach greater heights." Well, I was looking for really fucking tall heights. I wasn't really expecting just those little tiny platforms to be what I was looking for. Again, that was too vague. I'm not expecting clues to hand the game to me on a silver platter, but don't be so vague that I'm overlooking my objective. Cross for looking for greater heights. I'm looking up for greater heights. I only see one big bridge up there, and I can't fucking get to it. I didn't realize that's what I'm thinking when I think greater heights, especially when I'm dealing with things that are 500 fucking feet tall. Now, moving on past that. When I dealt with the 15th Colossus, the big guy with the little sword, it was like a dagger as small as that was. I didn't know that I needed when the Colossus slammed on the wall after I jumped up. I figured out on my own I needed to wait for those platforms. I needed to stomp on one of the platforms to angle it enough that I could jump up into that first tier of hallway there. I got that. I understood that. But I knew I needed to get to the second and third tiers because those were much higher and there were bridges up there. And I saw occasionally the Colossus would take his dagger and smash the wall. But what I didn't see was things falling at times. He would hit the wall, I'd be looking around and nothing had changed. So that didn't help me. And I had to just got lucky that one time that I happened to turn left after he smacked the one wall that I was on and saw something fall from the ceiling when I realized, oh, this is what I've been waiting on. I've been waiting on him to basically break down the wall so I could climb up. What I would like to have seen there is maybe a cutscene of when he smacked the wall showing that's what happened. Or instead of him hitting it and only dropping one little block, have it go ahead and drop the all the blocks I needed in order to get up there. Because if I'm looking the wrong way, or if I'm knocked down because of the impact that he hit the wall with, and the hero is stumbling around, I'm not going to see that his slamming on the wall actually helped me by providing those obstacles for me to climb up on. So I didn't see those obstacles. I didn't know what was going on. I thought he was just beating the wall and I was losing health, so I was just in a bad spot. So I would have liked to have seen there, like I said, he's hit the wall and a cutscene of it showing those blocks dropping, or them dropping all at once, so it was plainly obvious that was a big change. That's what I needed. The other thing I want to get to, and I said this a few times during the recording, during a few episodes, is I don't like tediousness in games. After I'd finally made it to the top, crawled my way up, got to the third tier, he broke the bridge, and I fell down to the bottom floor. Okay, maybe that was a little irritating, but that could have been kind of on mine. I could have gone, oh well, duh. He's going to swing. He's a big fucking Colossus. That's a tiny fucking bridge. It's likely he might fucking break it. You might not want to stand on it. So, okay, I'll give him that. But once I made it up to the third floor, got up to where the bridge was now broken, when I jumped onto the Colossus and started beating him, and started sorting him, and I fell off, what I didn't like was I had to go all the way back up there again. I fell off him. I had to go all back to the third floor. Now, again, that wouldn't be so bad if I didn't have to wait on the Colossus twice. First, I had to wait on I had to go back to the shifting platform, stand there, and wait for his ass to walk over there and stomp on it. Now, while he was one of the faster of the Colossi in the game, I still had to wait for him, and that is tedious. Then he had to stomp on it, then jump up, and I had to jump my way back around, jump all the way up back to the top level. And then once I got to the bridge, I had to wait for him to walk over to me. Tedious. I don't like tedious. I don't like waiting for things to happen. Or waiting for things to happen so I could actually perform my actions. And, shooting my arrows at him was just... I knew wasn't really going to do anything. It wasn't going to make him move over to me faster or anything like that. But at least it gave me something to do while I was waiting for him to come back over to me. What I would have liked to have seen there is... after you've reached the third floor, and maybe after he breaks the bridge, perhaps somewhere else in the arena, it creates a small little shortcut that you can just climb right back up to that third floor without having to wait on the Colossus to step on the platform for you to jump up there and work your way all the way back up to that third floor. That's tedious. That made the game boring for me and irritating for me. Now, at the end of the fight, after I finally got down to his elbow and smashed his elbow, I thought I was done because his health was so low. But instead, it just dropped his sword. Okay, unique mechanic. I'm okay with that. But, again, I didn't know... at that point, I thought I had to go back all the way back up to the top again, because I did it like 3 or 4 times, trying to jump on his back, crawl down his back, and somehow jump down onto those rings on his arm, and then go from the rings on his arm down into his hand. I was having trouble doing that. Again, what I would like to have seen there is maybe even a clue or just some way to make me realize I didn't have to go back to try to do that task, climb up to the top, and then climb down his arm. All I had to do was wait for him, like I did, for him to slam his hand down. Well, I didn't see that. I didn't know about that until I actually went up. I was like, okay, what do I need to do here? I don't get it. I don't know how to get into his hand. And it wasn't one of the times we could stand down, slam on the ground with his feet, because his hands were still too high for me to jump on. So, after I'd looked up, I realized, okay, I gotta wait for him to slam his hand down. Well, I ran into another mechanic problem. He kept wanting to stomp on my ass with his feet. I can't jump in his hand if he wants to kick me in the ass. So what I would have think what should have happened there is a change in mechanics. Once the Colossi dropped his sword, only go for the hand slam. Don't go for the foot slam. Don't go for the stomps. Just do the hand slam. And then Colossus number 16. There, I had a lot of issues, as I said, with the jumping mechanic, the button combination of turning around and jumping and reaching the next part. Also, one mechanic I didn't know about, which really didn't help me too much. According to what I read, if you stab 16 in the hand while he's flailing about, he'll actually stop moving, and you'll have a chance to climb up some part of him. Well, every time I stabbed him, all I did was make him madder, and he shook a little bit harder. It didn't seem to help me at all. And I certainly didn't think to try to use the bow on his shoulder. I just got lucky that a few times his hand was close enough, I was able to jump from his hand to his chest plate here, and that's how I got over to his shoulder and stabbed it. And then when I stabbed his shoulder, he brought his hand over here again. So I thought, okay, well, let's do the jump thing. I got to jump from his shoulder to his hand. That wasn't the case. I had to bow his shoulder. So somehow I wasn't even supposed to go from his hand to his chest. I wasn't even supposed to make that jump, apparently, which is why I had a hard time making it after a while. So the first time I did it was pure fucking luck. I wasn't supposed to do that at all. I was supposed to arrow him in the shoulder. He takes his hand, covers his shoulder, because it hurt, obviously. Somehow that little tiny arrow. Oh my god, I have a chronic shoulder. Whatever. And then go from his hand onto his shoulder, climb up his shoulder onto his head, finish the job. I had a whole lot of trouble with that. There were so many times when I was trying to go from his back to his left hand, or from his left hand, or actually his left upper arm, to his other hand, the back and forth jumping, that there would be times I'd jump, grab on, and he'd immediately let go, even though I didn't let go of the triggers or the X button that I was supposed to be using. I don't feel that some of those misses or let goes or whatever was my fault, because I had the controller buttons held down in the proper way and stuff, and he still fell. So I don't know how to solve that one, those kind of things. But near the end, another thing, and finally one last thought to that. After you fell off his hand, where did you go? Did you fall down on a platform right below you? No. You fell almost all the way to his feet almost every goddamn time. Now, if you got lucky and maybe you came off of his hand that went from arm to hand here, you were still close up to his body. You might have been able to grab onto one of the parts of his stomach or the lower part of his skirt there. If you got lucky. But most of the time, you went all the way back down to the bottom floor. All the way back down to the bottom, down to his nasty sandals. That's added to the tedium, because then you had to climb all the way back up. That is, again, back to the tedious part that I don't like. In some way or another, when you've got that complex of a control system, and you've got to do all those special things in order to go from hand to arm and that kind of thing, make it some way where you fall off, it doesn't take that long to get back to a certain point. Maybe after, again, I'm just making up, ideas here. Maybe after you've jumped from back to his hand, and maybe get up here and you stab this part, maybe somehow a platform extends from the midsection of the Colossus. So if you fall off at any point afterwards, you just go right down to the midsection and you just go right around to his back. You don't have to climb back up his skirt to reach his back again. The tediousness of falling and having to do another 3 to 4 minutes of climbing back up was one of the biggest irritations to me in this game, and that included both Colossus 16 and 15. Now, the issue with me jumping off of aggro onto the wings of the Leviathan type, what I call the Leviathan Colossus, the one that was flying through the air with the big sacks under his belly, that was a unique mechanic, and that took some talent to get, because while I got lucky the first couple of times, I missed them a lot of times after that. And that was probably just my lack of talent, because I'm not always great at games, but that was... I wish there had been another way to do that, because that was just a little frustrating to me. But overall, the game is easily a jewel, a diamond in the rough, if you allow me a unique phrase. It's definitely a very unique game in almost every aspect. Graphics looks good. The fact that you don't have 1,000 enemies you have to beat, you only have to kill 16 enemies. Granted, they're all boss level enemies, but that's the unique thing about it. And they all had different mechanics in how to beat them. Some mechanics became tedious. Most of the time, I had fun. Probably the first, I'd say, 12 to 13 Colossi I had fun with. The ones I had to start looking up walkthroughs or couldn't figure out or had trouble with or had tedious issues with, that's when I started losing interest in the game. But luckily I was close enough to the ending, I went ahead and pushed on through it and finished the game, and there we go. There's Shadow of the Colossus. I'm done. I'm happy with it. But again, I can see how this game was definitely a special type of game. I've already mentioned the positives, drawbacks, the tedious issues, and I kind of wish there was a little more story to fill in, so there wasn't so much of the what did I say? Or not made up the story, but guesswork at the story. You had to guess so much as to what was going on. Other than that, I can see how this, like I said, this game was very special and very good. I did enjoy it. Kind of a long outro, actually a long ending, in my opinion. But again, I didn't really expect to have to take control of both Dorman and the boy again, right there at the end as the big shadow things. Kind of wish that'd been a little more fun. I wish I had a chance to actually know what was doing. I was just suddenly standing there, saw a health bar going down, and no letterbox. I was like, "Oh shit, I'm playing!" I didn't realize I actually had to actually play as a Colossus for a moment. That was kind of cool. Wish I could have done a little bit more with that, but anyway, that'll do it. Overall, I think this is a good game. It's a good game, and I'm glad I played it. It's one that I'd actually wanted to play for a long time because because of its speciality, because I knew it was a rare thing. 16 bosses, that's all there is to it. And I'm glad I waited until it came out on the PS4 to play it, because then I would be able to appreciate the graphics a lot more than if I had played on probably the PS2 or PS3. So I'm happy. I really am. I'm over the game. I'm past the hardest part of it. beating this game is a true accomplishment for me, because it was very, very hard near the end, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did on medium too. I don't know how much easier it would have been on easy difficulty, but I did on like normal difficulty, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so overall for the last time, great game. I'm so glad I played it. I'm glad it's added to my collection. I'm glad it's on my channel. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and apologies for those who probably played the game on the PS2 or earlier or later editions or whatever, and are probably screaming at the screen, "Oh my God, you're doing this! You should be doing that!" Thank you for tolerating me during those moments, and I hope you guys enjoyed the series. On the parts that I enjoyed it too, and I don't really know what I want to say as far as a follow-up. I don't know if there should ever be a Shadow of the Colossus 2, or any kind of sequels or spin-offs or anything like that. Because it's kind of not really a cliffhanger ending, but kind of open-end ending. But that's Shadow of the Colossus. Again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Shadow of the Colossus. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the links at the end of the video, including the entire playlist of Shadow of the Colossus and other things that I've done on my channel. I'm Scoryth, Renegade. I'll see you later.